Welcome back to the A Critical Podcast with Andrew and Andy, two absolute fucking dipshits talking about politics and news in Australia. What are we talking about this week, Andrew?
We're going to talk about the Wiggles.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
We're going to talk about some councils down south in Victoria.
Yuck.
Latrell Mitchell and Jack Whiten, that whole thing.
Nice.
And we're going to talk a little bit about David McBride.
The boy.
The boy. So basically the Wiggles.
Wiggle, 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 wiggle.
Wiggles
wiggle.
have slammed a regional city.
It's in the Wiggle House. It's in the Wiggle House today.
I don't know that one.
One of the boys at work was jamming out to fruit salad as we were leaving today.
Yeah, he was. So they've been using a hot potato as a psyop to keep homeless people from sleeping in the memorial music shell.
Oh, so it'll be like one of those outside amphitheaters.
Yeah.
It's probably shaped like a shell. That's why they call it the shell.
Yeah.
And they're probably like, these homeless people keep sleeping here. So you know what we're going to do? Play hot potato.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Hot potato's not that bad, though.
No, it's not that bad. But also, like, you could, I don't know, just not do that.
I'd play something other than hot potato.
Play some soothing music. Play some Celine Dion or something.
You just play classical music, let them
Play
sleep.
classical music, let them sleep.
Or not play classical music. You know those homeless deterrents where they just, like, blast those spotlights?
Yeah.
Just do that.
Yeah. But also, like, they could just cover their eyes.
Also, why don't they try and solve the homeless issue?
Or it's like, yeah, just don't, instead of spending money on...
Did they buy the rights to hot potato?
I think it's one of those things where it's like free. I think one of those...
No.
No?
You have to buy the rights to perform it
I mean,
or play it.
Maybe they did. Do you think maybe they just bought the rights? Because, I mean...
Or they're just on YouTube. They'd just be like, all right, queuing up 12 hours of hot potato. I wonder if there's 12 hours of hot potato on YouTube. Hang on.
Do you have to pay for the rights if it's on YouTube?
Well, if you're just playing it.
Yeah.
Or if you're playing in a commercial or government setting.
What, so you just like...
So, like, you know how the radio plays songs?
Yeah.
They have to pay.
Yeah,
that,
they have to pay
right?
royalties, yeah.
Do you know how, like, servos play music and radio and stuff?
Yeah.
They have to pay for licenses to play that because it's a commercial venue.
Ah.
Hot potato, 12 hours.
So is it like that's why there's like KFC radio and and Coles radio? It's not really a radio station, but a disc.
There's no hot potato like 12 hours.
Oh, dang.
There you go. Someone make a 12-hour thing of hot potato. And you could just go through each iteration of the Wiggles.
You could go to Bunbury Council and get a fucking $1 million, apparently.
Bunbury? Where's Bunbury?
I don't know. It's somewhere in regional Victoria.
It's always the fucking Victorians. Okay, so here's the thing, right?
Oh, no, sorry. WA. I just remembered.
I don't have a gripe with Western Australia.
No.
But here's the thing with Victorians, right? So during COVID, you had all those Victorians escape Victoria and move up to Queensland. And Queenslanders are like, all these fucking lefties coming up here are going to vote and we're going to be a woke state now. No, it's all the right-wing cunts that were down there that were like...
It's all the cookers.
That was like, lockdowns, COVID, that's not real. We're going to go to Queensland where there's big open spaces.
Yeah, and believe it or not, we fucking locked down to fucking hard. We locked down harder than they fucking did.
We had fucking guns on the border. We were checking boots.
We did check boots.
We were checking boots for people. And we were finding people in the boot.
That's like the funny... I know this is like... Because this is a pre-recorded episode, obviously.
Yeah.
And like literally we just talked about crazy times with COVID with the last episode.
Yeah.
And literally there was that time a dude was running drugs across the border to New South Wales and they stopped him. And they found it full of fucking methamphetamine, marijuana, MDMA. Like, dude was like loaded up, ready to head down to New South Wales. And it's like, you knew this was happening, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is this is COVID.
Yeah.
Are you just
They're checking everything.
Are you so drug fucked that you just forgot?
But yeah, it seems to be all of the right-wing people from Victoria came up.
Oh, 100%.
Because they were like, going to get away from these fucking lockdowns, going to go up to Queensland.
Going to go up to Queensland.
Because the Queenslanders were losing their minds. They were like, we can't have these woke fucks come up here. We can't have more Dan Andrews come up here. We can't have more fucking dictators. We're a right-wing state. We're bleed blue.
Apparently, they actually are the most liberal voting state.
Exactly. But you know what? You know who came up from Victoria? Fucking right-wing cunts. Every Victorian
Every
I
single
meet
one.
who came up here to say, oh, yeah, I came up here through COVID. I hate black people.
I hate black people.
Like, that's what they say.
Welcome.
Yeah, and Queensland's like, come here, come in.
But
come
then they
in.
moved to Brisbane.
Yeah.
They moved to Brisbane, and it's like, what do you expect in Brisbane?
Mm.
I mean,
Disgusting.
you still get a lot of racists in Brisbane.
Mm.
Talking about Victoria,
Yuck.
council's planning to impose.
I gotta buy a new XLR before next week.
Okay, they impose grass height limits in Victoria, regional Victoria. They can't. So basically, the proposed law limits grass growth to 30 centimeters.
Yeah.
So imagine this regional area.
Mm.
You can only grow it this high.
Yeah. Regional.
Regional. So
Yeah.
they're like, oh yeah, if you grow past 30 centimeters, you're gonna get a fine.
They're trying to control bushfires.
They are, but at the same time, most regional areas, they're like
They're doing other things.
they're doing other things, and they're like, there's no exemption for farmland, for example.
Okay.
So if you want to like have your cattle out, you need to cut it to make sure it's not 30 centimeters.
You need to make sure the fucking cows are eating that grass.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. Great business idea. Start a regional mowing company, right? If you're in Victoria right now, and I know we don't have a lot of listeners, but if you're in regional Victoria right now and you have access to a tractor and a slasher, fucking do it.
Just go for it.
Do it.
I mean, they're not in yet, but at the same time.
But these laws coming in, and like 30 centimeters is not a lot.
It's not a lot.
You don't have to set the slasher that low. You can set it like so it just rolls over fucking rocks and shit.
But at the same time, they're going to want it to be low because they don't want to get it as, like, they don't want to cut that much. You can't just cut it at 30 centimeters and then go, yep, that's it, boss.
No, you cut it at 10 centimeters.
Cut 10 centimeters.
So you're not like hitting things.
So like what, this much?
No, 10 centimeters.
That's not 10 centimeters.
That's 10 centimeters. That's
30
30.
centimeters is like this.
That's 30 centimeters.
So you got 10.
It's 10.
So
1/3.
20. 10.
1/3.
Yeah.
1/3.
Yeah, 1/3.
1/3.
That is the math, yes.
Yeah, so you just cut everything at 10 centimeters and then you give them a subscription option. Farmers love subscriptions.
Oh, yeah, only 10 centimeters. Can you go any lower? No. All right, I'm going to go with the guy that cuts it down to like fucking like 10 mil.
Well, fucking you can offer that, but I'm saying give them a subscription option that you'll come back in 3 months' time and cut it again, or you come back in a month's time and cut it again.
That's true. That's true.
You can be the grass man.
Great, man.
And then once you earn enough, eventually get yourself an aircon cab, 2 more slashes, have a big chain gang.
Big chain gang.
Or, buy 30 goats. Just let them free on people's properties.
Speaking about goats,
That's not a segue.
it is.
Speaking about goats, you know that the Australian police are corrupt and racist?
Oh, yeah, right. Especially the ones down in Canberra, apparently. Dude, Canberra.
I like goats.
You like goats? They're not bad. Stop clicking. So rugby league stars Latrell Mitchell and Jack White charges have been dropped a day after a senior police officer involved in their arrest admitted to giving false evidence to court.
Well, how the tables have turned.
How they've turned, but also it's like, it's not unexpected.
It's like, okay, so an Indigenous man was arrested. I feel like the senior police officer, his supervisor, everything is like, you arrested an Indigenous man? The guy's like, yep. He's like, did you plant the evidence? He's like, yep. He's like, good work, buddy. Just like we trained you.
Well, basically the whole thing is that like he said this story happened. He was
The police officer?
Yeah, he basically was like, I'm preventing a fight in a public place. It's like and resisting arrest apparently. And it's like where? So basically it was initially alleged that Mr. Whiten had been given an exclusion notice after police observed him pushing and shoving a man inside Fiction nightclub after having clenched fists and an angry expression on his face, which made police think violence could ensue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would get arrested then because I often just have my hands in a fist because that's what's comfortable for me. And this is my resting face.
Yeah, pretty much. So any man on a night out could get arrested.
I'm going to start a fight.
But on Tuesday, Sergeant David Power, the supervisor of the group of officers involved in the incident, was
Tuesday
shown...
the 31st.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Last day of October.
Last day of October. Involved in the incident was shown a series of CCTV that Mr. Whiten's lawyer, Steve Boland, argued showed significant holes in the police description of the night. Sergeant Power then told court the allegations he'd made about why he'd kicked Mr. White out of the club were no longer seemed to be accurate.
Okay. Can I just say one thing?
What?
Sergeant Power.
Yeah. Do you think he changed his last name?
Bro. If I was going to change my last name, it'd be something like Power.
He sounds like something from Lethal Weapon.
Like, Sergeant Power. Sergeant Power. Are they all dead? Yeah. I shot every last one of them.
I shot everybody in the fiction nightclub. Even the 2 rugby players.
Bro,
that might be an issue.
The fiction nightclub. What a night of fiction that was.
Yeah, like that's an awesome name for a nightclub, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Fiction nightclub.
You can have next to it, you could have non-fiction.
Non-fiction.
Everything that happens there is true.
Non-fiction pub. And it's just like they just do quizzes.
Yeah.
They just do quiz nights.
Okay.
Non-fiction.
Sergeant Power.
Yeah.
Back to Sergeant Power being a racist
Sergeant
piece
Power
of shit.
basically admitted that what I saw didn't line up with the footage and conceded he had a memory issue.
Well, okay, he has a memory issue. He cannot be a police officer.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
it's like, what?
Goodbye.
What I saw appears to not have happened. How does that happen?
Okay.
How does that happen? And my
Okay.
memory has failed me.
Well, if your memory's failed you, mate, you can't be a policeman officer.
Okay, so basically Mr. Boland, his lawyer, the lawyer basically accused Sergeant Power of trying to frame his client by inventing evidence. And Sergeant Power replied with, "It wasn't a lie. It's what I believed happened." And Sergeant later apologized to Mr. Whiten in front of court, saying, "Sorry, Jack. If that's what happened, mate, I thought I saw something different."
That sounds
For
like
one,
that
by
sounds
the
like
way,
something Joe Biden would say. Sorry, Jack.
What did he say? He's like, "Sorry, Jack."
I got them hairy legs, Jack.
Hey, guess what, Jack? It's like talking to a woman. Hey, guess what, Jack?
Back in my day, Jack, I had them hairy legs, and the kids at the swimming pool used to pull on them, say, "Oh, Mr. Hairy Legs, Jack."
Back in my day, the pralines and ice cream used to be from Israel. Like what?
Okay, sorry, Jack, mate.
Mate,
I thought something different happened,
I saw something different happen, mate.
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 You know, we talked
the thing is,
a
though-
while back about rugby players need to be better role models, and they need to have.
These were the role models.
These are the role models, and these were the people that we were like, "Fuck, more fucking rugby players starting shit," but they weren't.
Yeah.
Bro, I do apologize for this episode for the beep, beep.
All right.
I'll just cut it and then put it across the whole episode. Ambient sound.
So basically, the whole thing is that they weren't there for the event.
They were just there.
They showed up after the fact because I guess they're patrolling and like security were like, okay, this might be a thing, but the security broke it up at the time because in the CCTV, it's basically like they're kind of like huddled. Like like the video watched down, like and I watched it. And so basically, like, they're kind of, like, huddled. Like, they're kind of, like, holding their arms around each other. And they're just kind of, like, pushing back and forth with their heads against each other.
Just kind of having a little cuddle.
They're just kind of having a little cuddle.
Little bonding
It
moment.
literally just looked like a fucking cuddle.
So,
Like an aggressive cuddle.
When me and my son, we, like, put our heads against each other
Yeah.
as, like, kind of like a hug,
Yeah.
would they be like, "Man, that guy's aggressive to that baby"?
Yeah. 100%. And, like, they literally stopped. They just stopped. The security guy was like,
Hey, no that shit. No that gay stuff.
no, stop it. And
Don't you touch each other. You're men. No.
I'm like, all right. That's, we'll just stop, I guess. But I really wonder because obviously basically it's just like, okay, yeah.
So what were the charges
with
against Latrell?
It was basically just for starting a fight in a public place.
So So the main thing was Whiten was kicked out, and then they charged Whiten and Latrell for starting a fight. That
Yeah.
never happened.
Yeah.
Okay, and the police officer made shit up against.
Yeah,
The
so the
black
charges
guy.
were dropped. Well, they were both charged.
Yeah,
Well, especially Jack Whiten.
yeah.
Yeah. That's why he said, sorry, Jack.
Sorry, Jack.
Sorry,
Had them
Jack.
hairy legs.
And it's kind of like, eh? Why did you lie? You just could have just not done it. Like he knew, surely he would have been like, oh shit, I'm arresting 2 rugby league players. And then
Maybe that's what he wanted. He didn't get picked for the rugby league team 20 years ago. He's like, these fucks,
these fucks,
they stole my dream.
they stole my dream.
And one of
These-
them's Indigenous.
I'm 40 years old. They stole
Is
my...
Jack White an Indigenous or is it just Latrell?
Just Latrell. I mean, Jack Whiten might be Indigenous if he identifies that way.
Mm.
But he's quite Eurocentric presenting.
White presenting.
Yeah.
But still, he was like, man, arrest this fool.
Well, I think the worst part is obviously because Jack Whiten it was either Jack Whiten or Latrell Mitchell in the CCTV. I can't remember. And he surrendered.
Yeah.
He surrendered in the CCTV, and like they also tried to say that he was resisting arrest.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
He surrendered in the CCTV.
See, when you surrender, right, when you put your hands up, it's
Yeah.
harder for them to put the cuffs on, so you're resisting.
Yeah.
You need to put your hands behind your back.
Well, actually,
So
he did put his hands behind the back in the video.
No. Here's what you do, right? You're resisting arrest if you put your hands up in the air.
Yeah.
Right? So you put your hands behind your back. And then they shoot you because you have a gun. Because your hands are behind your back. That's concealed.
That's true. That's true.
That's the play, boys.
Yeah. That's
So
true.
if a police officer ever asks you to put your hands behind your back, say, are you going to shoot me for having a gun? And then they'll just shoot you anyways because you
said you had a gun.
yeah.
Because you said you had a gun.
The best response is just scream, is this because I am black?
Is this because I'm black?
Or
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
you could just scream that.
You could just scream that. Because
After having a succulent Chinese dinner.
that pretty much was what happened. These guys are like, what's going on? And then they got arrested and were like, okay.
You're fighting.
And then either in the video, Latrell Mitchell or Jack Whiten, basically, he was arrested and they went, oopsies, and then like pushed him to the ground and did the old George Floyd where they had their knees on his back.
Yeah.
Like literally in the video, and he was worried for his life.
That's Cop 101.
It's like, why do you do this?
Cop 101.
Why do you keep doing this?
Arrest them, cause them pain, and then say, stop resisting.
And then nothing happens after they're found to be lied in court and just say, sorry, mate.
Yeah, did Sergeant Power lose his job?
No,
Did Sergeant Power get fined?
no.
He's just an oopsie poopsie.
It's oopsie poopsie. Oopsie poopsie.
Man,
My memory failed me.
If I'm ever arrested by Sergeant Power, I'll just slip and have him shoot me in the knee.
And it's like, does this set the precedent for the fact that, hey,
Police have different rules.
maybe the police officers just lie sometimes?
No, 100%. 100%. Why do you think we have such a high Indigenous incarceration rate?
Fucking oath, mate. All right, now we're going to talk about David McBride, talking about incarceration. Really, just to lay it down who this homie is. He's a former British Army major and Australian Army lawyer. From 2014 to 2016, he provided the ABC with information about war crimes committed by Australian soldiers in Afghanistan.
And that was his job, was to investigate the war crimes.
No, he was a lawyer.
Yeah, but
He was looking at it, basically. It was a part of his day-to-day job to look at these things.
yeah, and make sure that Australia wasn't committing war crimes.
Yeah.
And what did he find? War crimes.
Hey, war crimes. Hey, you know that little sneaky thing that we're not meant to be doing?
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
So he went to his superiors and said, hey, we're committing war crimes. And they said, no, we don't want to hear about this. No one knows about this. Don't tell anyone. So then he went to their superior and said, we're committing war crimes, the ADF. And they went, no.
Yeah.
Hush, hush. Stop. Don't. No.
And so basically, eventually he went, okay, well, I'm going to go to the ABC with these classified files and documents and report it. And so that produced the story the killing fields.
Yeah.
And that's why we know about those fucking horrible things that happened and why
And all that footage.
all
and
that
everything.
footage and why we were just like, what the fuck?
And then the military went to the ABC and they said, yo, dog, who the fuck gave you this? And the ABC said, David McBride.
Yeah, because apparently we're not allowed to not disclose. Like, we can't keep people from saying where their sources come from anymore.
Yeah.
Which I think is the most fucked up thing in the planet, because it's like, is witness protection not a thing? Is that?
Yeah. But like the ABC were immediately like, yeah, this dude. And he got arrested.
He got arrested. And in 2018, he was charged with theft of Commonwealth property.
Yeah. That's what he's being charged with.
That's what he was charged with. But also in March 2019, he was charged with 4 further offences, including breaching of the Defence Act, unlawfully disclosing a confidential Commonwealth document. McBride is declared not guilty to all charges at his preliminary hearing and awaiting trial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's been charged with all these things.
Yeah.
Right? For blowing the whistle on fucking war crimes.
Yeah.
That Australian military was doing. And it wasn't just the fact that he did that. They then, after this reporting, did a separate inquiry.
Yep.
Which was
So basically in May 2016, Major General Justin Paul
Brereton.
Brereton.
It's called the Brereton Report.
From 2016, after obviously he did these things, he investigated and found there was credible information that war crimes were committed by Australians in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
In November 2020, this information was found public and it said, yes, there has been war crimes.
Highly redacted, but still war crimes.
Highly redacted, but there's war crimes. So basically, it's like...
So the war crime, that was... The report found evidence of 39 murders of civilians and prisoners by or at the instruction of Australian Special Forces.
Yeah.
So killing prisoners and civilians
Yeah.
or instructing someone else to kill them.
Yeah.
25 ADF personnel were involved in the killings, including those who were accessories to the incidents, and some were believed to be involved was still serving with the ADF.
Jesus Christ.
Now, the findings were all this. And what did they do? What did they do?
They still charged him.
Hmm?
They still charged him, and they did nothing about it.
No, what did they do to the people who committed the war crimes?
Oh, nothing. They just get a slap on the wrist and get moved around.
They disbanded the group who were doing it so they could go throughout the ADF to other areas and probably spread that bullshit. But that's it.
Yeah.
And so the report found that there were throwdowns committed.
Throwdowns was basically what?
So throwdowns were an ADF personnel would kill a civilian, or a civilian would be killed in combat, and you would have a weapon or a radio or something on you that you would then put on the body to then say, oh, they were an enemy combatant. So to cover up unlawful and illegitimate killings, they would give the guy a gun and be like, he had a gun. Yeah. He wasn't a civilian.
Yeah.
Blooding. So junior soldiers were often required by their superiors to murder prisoners to get their first kill and practice. So go kill that dude. Get you know what's that's your first kill.
Like I remember going, oh my god, this is terrible. Bring it back over here. Unwrap yourself. Get yourself unclogged. There we go.
Let's see how long that lasts.
All right. So in my youth session, I remember going because at some point I was like, okay, I'm going to join the army. Terrible idea. They were just like, well, obviously, we asked this of everybody. Would you be willing to take a life in the Defence Force? And obviously it's like, if it's required. If it's required and it's part of the job, I would do it. And that's what you say. Like, obviously you understand that you're in war, you're going to fight, and that's what you do. You don't go around killing innocent people.
Killing prisoners.
Killing prisoners. You know-
Making your junior ADF members kill someone who's unarmed and a prisoner just so they can get their first kill.
yeah, it's like, hey,
Blood 'em, mate.
it's like, hey, believe it or not, killing people is bad.
And like,
It's not cool. It's at the end of the day, you are fucked in the head if you like violence. I don't think anybody in the world who's a rational thinking person, who is a veteran, liked the fact that they did things that they did.
yeah. So David McBride's going on trial soon.
Yeah.
He's got a book coming out talking about his biography and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's quite fucked that the government is still pursuing him. I think it's fucked.
Yeah.
I don't know what Labor's doing about it.
I don't really know.
I wish they'd do more. They had these whistleblower things in place, and they've forgiven some people. Like, they want to get Julian Assange back, but for some reason we're going to let David McBride rot in prison for uncovering this. And then it's not just the fact that he uncovered it. It's that then there was also a report that proved what he reported was true.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
he stole Commonwealth documents, right? But would you not forgive that and punish the people who actually committed real crimes and took lives
Yeah.
and tried to brush that under the rug?
Yeah. So basically, at the end of the day, this wouldn't have been a thing if he didn't whistleblow. That's the whole point of it.
If he didn't whistleblow, we wouldn't have an inquiry.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have had the report.
Wouldn't have the report. Wouldn't have...
No one would have any idea about the toxic culture that goes on in the ADF.
No, exactly. They wouldn't have the fact that there's mass killings going on. There's massive culture of just commit massive acts of violence.
Just kill the towel heads.
Just kill them. Just kill them. It's like, I hate the fucking Afghan people. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, there was a quote from a guy, and it was like, why do you have an Afghani blanket if you hate the Afghans so much? It's, because I remember killing them and it makes me happy.
Yeah. It's like, why?
Yeah.
It's like, do you actually enjoy violence like that?
Well, that's the thing. It's like all the kids in high school who are like borderline psychopaths and obsessed with guns and obsessed with like, you should just kill them. Oh, just kill them. Just kill them. They're the ones who ended up in the police force in the ADF.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, I know a couple of people who went in there who are like relatively sane and everything, but all the fucking psychos, you're a police officer now. I remember you spitting this fucking N-word and saying how much you hated people of different races, and now you're a police officer.
I remember one we know in particular, he called a African student a monkey.
Yeah. Police officer now.
Police officer now.
I know, like, you can't be like, that was 10 years ago, whatever, but like,
that was 10 years ago.
That's still 10 years ago that you were saying shit like that. Unless you've shown, and like, it's a long process to become a police officer, and I don't think they whip the racism out of you. And it's the same with the ADF. It's like the guys who are like psychotically obsessed with guns and killing people and being, and like weird about it.
Yeah.
Are the ones that joined the ADF.
100%. Well, it wasn't always a culture.
It's this weird culture.
It wasn't always a culture
I feel like Australia's got an Americanization problem where a lot of Australian stuff is becoming Americanized.
They have,
I think that military culture's kind of come over to a lot of people. Like,
and it has.
Most households are like, yeah, they get paid quite well. Like respect the military, whatever.
Yeah.
But we don't have our fucking dicks hard for the military like the US do.
No, because at the end of the day, it's like you go back to Vietnam, and Vietnam obviously was a horrible conflict, and my dad tells me this story about what my grandfather did in Vietnam, and basically the way he starts off in the story is America, like there's two different mission statements for Australia and America in Vietnam. One was seek and destroy the enemy. And Australia's was to defend itself against enemy combatants, basically.
Yeah.
And attempt to the mission targets. And at the end of the day, that's what Australia did. And my grandfather one day, obviously, this was a terrible conflict, and obviously there was problems with child soldiers and stuff like that.
Shouldn't have been there.
On both sides of the conflict. And they came across an enemy combatant that was chained to a tree with a machine gun and was forced to... He surrendered himself, and he was forced to do this. Obviously, he surrendered himself in. my grandfather, which I believe he was a captain at the time, obviously took him in as a POW. He was, they're walking along trying to get back to where they were set up, and they come across an American troop, and the American troop basically just goes, "Well, why don't we just fucking kill this guy?"
Mm.
And basically, my grandfather almost war crimed this American troop because he said we should just murder this guy.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, why?
Oh,
this
'cause of the enemy.
person does not want to fucking be here.
Yeah.
He basically said we should just kill this, because also at the same time, this was a kid.
Yeah.
This is a kid. He's basically said we should just murder this kid.
Well, like we went to Afghanistan to kill terrorists
Yeah.
and liberate the people.
Yeah.
And during Iraq, Afghanistan, those wars,
Yeah.
it was over 40,000 civilians died.
Yeah.
Over 40,000 civilians died.
Yeah.
And there's reports of Australian soldiers killing civilians and then putting a radio or a gun on them and saying, yeah, that was an enemy combatant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have Australian soldiers who have come back laughing about it and boasting about the fact that they killed civilians.
Posting it on Instagram.
Posting on Instagram, making podcasts about it, having a joke. And it, they go through a very heavy toll.
Yeah.
And they should have mental support. They should have personal support. And it's good that they talk about things, but the way in which they talk, a lot of them are talking about it,
It's a masochism.
is
level.
glorification of violence.
It's not even. It's just evil.
It's
Literally just
and like,
evil. Because
you know what people will turn around and say? They'll say, "Oh, it's a violent video games. You play Call of Duty, you go sign up for the army, you go kill you go kill civilians because that's what you do in Call of Duty." But it's proven that video games do not cause violence. It is the way you grow up and the culture that you are in.
I think it's like.
So,
Okay, so
if
it's
your
not the
parents
it's not the
fucked up,
It's not the enjoyment of violence that you have on a video game. Like, some people obviously enjoy the violence, but at the end of the day, like, you played Pac-Man when you were a kid. Like, you're just eating all these fucking balls, whatever, and then you moved on to Pokemon or whatever. Did you enjoy the violence of Pokemon, or did you enjoy the strategy of it?
yeah. But like
know?
they've proven that video games don't make people violent. They've proven that it's their home life, the way they are treated as children and get raised by their parents, and the culture in which they grow up and are in.
Yeah.
So if you're a fresh 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old, you join the military,
Yeah.
and the culture is, fuck these guys, I hate them, let's just shoot them.
Yeah.
If you accidentally kill one, chuck a gun on him, whatever.
Yeah.
That's teaching this, young person who they've proven that people's brains aren't fully developed until they're 25.
Yeah.
This person whose brain is not fully developed, their life means nothing
Yeah.
as long as you put a gun on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Their life is literally shit. They are just collateral in your story.
Yeah. You're just an action hero for murdering someone's dad
Yeah.
or murdering
A brother,
actual
a
kid.
son, a dad, a kid, a wife, a husband,
a daughter.
an auntie, an uncle, a grandmother, a grandfather, a grandchild.
Believe it or not, you're just the villain in someone's story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they go, why do we have terrorists? Oh, maybe because of the anti-Muslim sentiment. Maybe because of the oppression. Maybe because the Western world went in and killed over 40,000 civilians and treated them like fucking nothing and just put a gun on them and said, yeah, it was an enemy combatant. Can you imagine if in Australia the police shot someone and was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And they put a gun on them and were like, see?
He was trying to kill us.
And there was no investigation because they were like, someone was like, why'd you kill that guy? And be like, oh, he's an enemy combatant. See the gun? And they'd be like, sounds right.
Yep. And then
There would be a giant investigation.
Then they just pick up the gun,
Put it back.
put it back in their pocket.
And David McBride,
Yeah.
oh,
Poor fella.
he's come out and he's said this and he's like betrayed the culture and betrayed his brothers in arms, and Australia's abandoned him.
Apparently. Yeah. It's like, it's just
Why-
very disgusting.
okay, Julian Assange, whatever. But he fucked over another country. He didn't fuck over Australia, right? So
No,
we
he
want him back.
Yeah.
But because David McBride exposed war crimes which were going to be swept under the rug and then were found to be true as well,
Yeah.
fuck him.
Yep.
It makes me angry.
It does.
Disgusting!
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. All right, we're going to end this one.
We're going to end it.
This one was pre-recorded because Andrew's going to have a baby.
We're going to have a baby soon.
So we're gonna bank some up.
Bank some. I don't know when.
Bit of a bank.
I don't know when it'll come out.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? This one?
know.
This one?
Maybe.
Maybe not.
It'll come out tomorrow if you're listening to it today.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right. Do the usual. Send us emails, comments, whatever. We'll talk about them. You know, we don't have a lot of views at the moment, but we're just happy to be here.
We're just going to make it.
We're just gonna keep making
We're just
it.
going to keep making it. Be an annoying voice.
Bye.
Bye.